Star Wars, talking about Star Wars today. The newest Star Wars movie came out, The Last Jedi. We're gonna talk a bit about it. I'm not gonna be reviewing the movie or anything. Plenty of YouTubers have made extensive videos talking about the problems with the entire film. I specifically wanted to focus on one aspect of the movie with Rose Tico, the newest character addition to the Star Wars story. This, in my opinion, is one of the worst Star Wars characters that's been introduced into the main films. Now, not the worst character, cause well, but she's pretty bad. Now, I assume most watching this have seen the film already and you know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm gonna be spoiling shit obviously, so just letting you know. I still don't know if I liked The Last Jedi or not, cause there were things I did like, but there were things I really didn't like. Example being Rose Tico, a shoehorn character if I ever saw one. Worse than the stupid purple-haired SJW feminazi lady. Rose Tico, the maintenance worker, a scintillating occupation for a character to have, is a focused character of the film, who takes up an unnecessary amount of screen time. Star Wars The Last Jedi is 2 hours and 35 minutes long. A lot of that screen time gets invested with Rose, for really no reason. As many have said, Finn and Rose's subplot of the film is pretty weak. Nothing comes from it aside from pretentious and obvious social messages that get shoved down your throat. Not just that, but because of how they wanted to set her up, she ends up becoming more of a detriment by the end than anything else. I'm sorry, but she sucks, and this outright lie being pushed by Disney, Rian Johnson, and others that she's some sort of strong female protagonist is such a fucking laugh. So this character is first introduced by stunning one of the main characters, Finn, because of a misunderstanding, thinking he was going to completely abandon ship until she decides to help him. She fangirls to him about what he did in The Force Awakens, and it's a little out of place, but what is really out of place, of course, is when they go to the casino planet Canto Bight, where the movie just takes a complete detour, having preachy messages that just don't even make sense when you think about it. Like the scene where Rose and Finn are talking about the greedy nature of the people of Canto Bight, and they cut over for you to see old, wrinkly, cackling white dudes with other old cackling aliens, but mostly old wrinkly white guys pushing the obvious social message of poverty, the 1%, and how bad rich old white men are. Entertaining themselves with animals and running casinos, even though this message is being brought to you by Disney, who are fucking running casinos and zoos. They do find out much of the wealth was accumulated by selling weapons to both sides of the war, which a lot of people found super interesting, by the way. I don't know why, since that's an idea that's been done before in the Star Wars universe, in a much better way. Knowing this by playing a little game called Knights of the Old Republic, there exists the Zerka Corporation, which is an avaricious company that sells to both sides. The Republic and the Sith, not just in firearms, but in consumer food products and even illegal slave trade. So they're far worse and grubbier than just running casinos and mistreating animals, wouldn't you say? But yeah, that's not original in the slightest, and I was just confused why that specifically piqued everyone's interest so much. Rose also decides to just release the herd of mistreated animals that are captive there and makes a very worn out point about saving animals. It's pretty cringy and not subtle in the slightest. It doesn't really coincide with the main plot, you know, that thing we're more interested in. It's also complete bullshit because all of it could have been completely avoided if it wasn't for the purple-haired bitch and her stupid plan. That doesn't make sense either, but that seemed to be the theme of the 8th movie. It gets worse when, towards the end of the film, Rose and Finn are heading towards the First Order's laser battering ram to try and stop it from blasting the Resistance last line of defense. Finn decides he's going to sacrifice himself to save everyone in an attempt to stop the First Order, but when he decides to do this, Rose catches up with him, rams her vehicle into his, and they both crash, which could have killed them both and that stunt would have been all for naught. But the point of it was to show an act of love and to not be the hero, to save the ones we love. Then she awkwardly kisses him, which the writer must have forgotten Finn has a love interest already. Which one it really is, I don't know yet, but now we have to insert this bitch into the mix, having a weird love triangle. Then Finn has to save Rose now. This strong female protagonist now needs to be saved at the end after doing something that was completely emotionally driven, completely irrational, completely illogical.
The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Like, no shit, right? At least what Finn was going to do made sense. Whether or not it would have actually worked is anyone's guess, but at the very least he tried. He wasn't going to be a coward in that moment, something she accused and condemned him of being at the fucking beginning. But now, depending on the circumstances, it's fine being a coward. I guess only when it suits your needs, huh, Rose? Cause see, her sister earlier in the film nobly sacrificed herself for the greater good, helped stop the bad guys from doing the bad things they were going to do, and Rose didn't want to lose anyone else, so she decided, so selflessly I might add, to throw all of the remaining resistance survivors under the bus and let the First Order tear the door down. Also, Finn could live and they can be together. It's like a sad fan fiction where someone inserts themselves into the story with these established characters and makes everything revolve around them. It's also laughable that she falls in love with someone she's only known for a few days, who never ever shown any signs of interest in you whatsoever, but you wanted Senpai to notice you, so that's why you fucking did all this. It comes across as pathetic, and it also sends mixed messages. Very counterintuitive, like, her point was, don't sacrifice yourself to be the hero, but yet, let me teach you this by sacrificing myself to be the hero? Then why do a lot of other characters in this sacrifice themselves for others then? That's like the reoccurring theme in this series. What? Anyway, she winds up in a little coma, much like Finn. Aw, how sweet. They have so much in common now. Why is so much of the runtime devoted to this subplot that's both boring and trite, with this character that just sidekicks with Finn as the annoying fan that adds little to nothing to the overall story? She figures out they're being tracked through hyperspace earlier on, but then again, so does Finn, and they both play off each other and kind of have a back and forth and devise the plan together. But independently, on her own, does nothing but fuck up. She stuns Finn and tries to turn him in when he tries to leave and warn Rey, stopping his clearly important mission, doesn't object to teaming up with an obvious shady dude, impedes on the will and decision of another person to stand on some phony moral high ground.
I have the high ground!
And actually puts Finn in more danger because he somehow had to drag her unconscious ass all the way back to their base with all this shit pointed at him. So, question. Why am I supposed to like her again? I seriously don't know why I'm supposed to. The actress Kelly Marie Tran was okay, I guess, given what she had to work with. She was fine. I'm not trying to throw shade at the actress, but the character, cause the character is shit. I know some people, after hearing me complain, might try to pull the race and sexism card here because that's what's been happening recently surrounding her. According to various news articles, these ones from Global News and HuffingtonPost.com, states that Kelly Marie Tran of Last Jedi is facing racist and sexist comments online. On Wikipedia, on Rose Tico's bio page, someone edited in racist comments as seen in the screenshots before you. Obviously, it's very stupid and juvenile. Yeah, clearly childish and ridiculous. Obviously, I don't condone that, I condemn it. Example of someone thinking that they're being funny and clever when they're just being an idiot. What they did was wrong, of course. However, if you expect me to start feeling bad for her that she's a victim now because of that specific incident, then you're sorely mistaken. I'm sorry, but she was in a huge franchise that made a shit ton of money and was a centerpiece of it, acquiring mass amounts of money, fame, and more job opportunities, even being able to pay off her student loans. So I'm sure she'll fucking recover from this pretty inconsequential thing that got resolved rather quickly. Look, if you really liked her character and if you really liked this movie, whatever, that's fine, I don't care, enjoy them. But for me, she was very annoying and one of the worst characters introduced into the movies that I didn't care at all about, that I didn't like, that I didn't understand her reason for being here. I just find it funny that they try pushing this narrative about how unique her character is.
Rose is not an amazing pilot or a Jedi. She's so strong in a different way. And I think that's kind of how she holds her own.
Nor is she really breaking stereotypes like people like to claim, because she's a woman who ultimately was motivated by the power of love and had to be the fucking damsel in distress at the end, being rescued by the man she confesses her love to. Yeah, wow, so revolutionary and groundbreaking. What a great fucking character that's been conceived. Make sure to buy all the toys of her. Buy the Rose Tico toys. I'm sure all the kiddies are lining up for that shit. The most interesting, impactful character in all of Star Wars history, everyone, that affected the story in a positive way. What a fucking joke.